Hello everyone, welcome back to the Galactic Guide. In today's video, we're going to be discussing all things Bounty Hunter, one of my all-time favorite things in Star Wars. They have some of the coolest characters are done through Bounty Hunters. We're going to be touching up on what Bounty Hunters are, just a brief summary and definition. And we're also going to be talking about some key people and touching up briefly on the employers, Bounty Hunters. If you want to hear more of that, let me know in the comments below. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. And let's begin. So in Star Wars, bounty hunters were individuals who were paid to do various tasks. Mostly, on averaging, their tasks were typically capturing or killing a specific target. After the successful capture or proof of kill, or whatever task they were assigned to, and they complete it, they are paid whatever their contract was for or how much the bounty on the target was. So with whatever target or job they were assigned to, they had many different employers who would ask certain tasks of them. Most of which, again, were to capture or kill a specific target. Now, these employers can range from people within the Bounty Hunter Guild. Even Jabba was a big part of employing bounty hunters. And even Republic employed bounty hunters, and so did the Empire to hunt, for example, to hunt Han Solo. Again, these bounty hunters were pretty much freelancers who followed where their money went. So whatever paid the most, that's the job they took. Alright, now that you've kind of got an idea of what a bounty hunter is, what they do, and who they work for, now on to more of key figures in bounty hunting and their accomplishments. And then after that, I'm going to actually talk about my own views on where I hope to see bounty hunting kind of come up more in Book of Boba Fett, since it's coming up in December and I really see bounty hunting kind of being a big part of that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end of this video, and I'm going to start off with one of my personal favorite, Cad Bane, who we saw in the Bad Batch. So, great character in the Clone Wars, and he's a obviously alien species, and he is a very experienced bounty hunter, at least by the time the Bad Batch comes around, because he has experienced a lot. He was a key bounty hunter during the Clone Wars, as we see in the Clone Wars series. He's worked mostly for the Hutts, and on occasion he'll work for the Separatists or Sith, even when they specifically ask him for jobs. And even more recently, he worked for the Kaminoans to capture Omega. Ironically, he was actually trained by Jango Fett himself, which actually you can see if you watch him, and you can see Jango Fett's style reflect in Cad Bane's fighting style too, with the dual blaster. Even the jet boots kind of have a sense of Jango Fett to them. And then he actually later on in the Clone Wars, he actually mentored Boba Fett later on in the years, which is kind of cool. It's almost like Jango Fett mentored Cad Bane, and through Cad Bane, Boba was being trained by his father, in a sense. Obviously, it didn't end well with those two, but that's another story, and we can break that down another time. Just a couple notable accomplishments that he accomplished, at least during the Clone Wars. He was able to steal a holocron, which is almost impossible, but he did it. He even took the Senate hostage to free Zero the Hutt for the Hutt clan, and he even attempted kidnapping the Chancellor for Count Dooku, and obviously most recently he's worked for the Kaminoans to capture Omega from the Bad Batch, and he makes a great comeback, in my opinion, in Star Wars. So I hope to see more of him, and I'll talk about him a little later in the video. So the next bounty hunter I'm going to talk about is going to be Boba Fett, one we've seen from the start of The Empire Strikes Back to the most recent series, The Mandalorian, just a little bit about him. He was obviously a clone of Jango Fett, but he was unaltered, so which meant he would grow like a normal child at a slower rate, and he didn't have an inhibitor chip like the rest of the clones. Jango wanted Boba to be his son and raised him as such in the Mandalorian ways. But as soon as Jango passed, Boba Fett kind of didn't really have a mentor for a while. And he met Aura Singh through his attempts to assassinate Mace Windu. And then later on, he was trained by and mentored by Cad Bane. Now, he's done a lot of things. Since he was there from the start of the Clone Wars to the Mandalorian, there's a lot of time which he accomplished a lot of different things. He had worked with the Hutts mostly. He was also made his own bounty hunter group, and he even worked for the Empire, and on occasion sometimes separatists. But mostly he was working for the Empire in his older years. You know, he hunted R2-D2 and C-3PO, Han Solo and Luke, and then obviously now he's working with Fennec Shand after killing Bib Fortuna to take over Jabba's palace. I can't wait to see what they have in store for Book of Boba Fett. It's gonna be really, really fun to watch, and I hope they develop more of his backstory a little more, or more of who he is a little more. I'm really excited to see where they go with that. And his just his persona is really cold and brooding, and he's just got this really kind of experience to him, and I really enjoy that because there's not a lot of bounty hunters, I guess you could say, that have the experience he would have by the point of The Mandalorian. So it'll be really fun to see his character in the Book of Boba Fett. So finally, I'm going to kind of talk about a couple thoughts that I have about with the future of bounty hunters in Star Wars, or things that I would like to see in Star Wars with bounty hunters. Especially with Book of Boba Fett coming up, there's a lot of potential that I foresee the possibilities of diving deeper into the life of like bounty hunting, which is really exciting for me because I just love bounty hunters in Star Wars just because they got this really cool like personality. They're gunslingers. They give off different like they either give off like Western vibes or just like these dark brooding characters, and their characters are really fun to kind of watch. Just their interactions with other main characters in Star Wars. And I'm really thrilled to see what they do for Book of Boba Fett. But I'm really excited to see if they bring back any old bounty hunters or name drop a couple, like Cad Bane, possibly a name drop, or at least like a reference or something with him. I'm actually kind of curious if they're going to bring back someone like Bosk, or someone who's had another close relationship to Boba Fett, and seeing their interaction from, you know, young Boba Fett in the Clone Wars interacting with Bosk versus Boba Fett now with a Bosk that we haven't seen in years, and seeing that interaction. I don't know if Bosk is still around at that point, but it would be really interesting to see. And I would really like to see more into the lore of bounty hunters and seeing it more live action, I guess, is the best way to put it, I think, at least. But I would like to see more action through bounty hunters and seeing it take place and how it's ran. But there's a lot of potential and a lot of ways they could take the Book of Boba Fett, but I really am excited to see what they do. Those were just a couple thoughts that I had about what they're going to do. But if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. And if you want to keep up to date with all my future videos, please subscribe to the channel. I should have another video coming up here in the near future. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.